Mall of America. For more than 30 years, it has been a retail leader and an international destination, and it remains the largest mall in the U.S. Not to mention, it welcomes millions of guests from around the world. It's huge, but it's also so much more. In this podcast, you're going to hear the real stories of how it started and why it continues to thrive. You'll hear about challenges we faced along the way and what you can learn from them. We will feature guests and experts from all walks of life and business, and along the way, you'll laugh, learn, and maybe even change the way you look at things. So if you're a fan of the mall, a brand new visitor, an entrepreneur, or a dreamer, prepare to dive deep into so much more. This podcast is presented by the Bloomington Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome to So Much More. I am Jill Renslow, the Chief Business Development Officer here at Mall of America and your host for today's podcast. I am joined by my co-host, Chris Grap. You guys know him well. And our guest today has been a partner and friend of Mall of America for more than 16 years. We worked together on the biggest transformation in Mall's history when we turned our theme park from Camp Snoopy, the park at MOA, to Nickelodeon Universe. It has been a great partnership, and we've had so much to talk about over the years, and we have so much to share with you today. So please welcome Ron Hines, the Vice President of Themed Entertainment with Paramount Consumer Products and Experiences, along with our very own colleague, Mr. Brian Spielman, who's the Vice President of Attractions here at Mall of America. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks very much, Jill.
We're going to have fun.
We are going to have fun.
I mean, these podcasts are always super fun.
I feel like that was the hard part.
Getting through all that was the hard part. I know, you got to get it all out there just to set the stage. But, you know, we have something very special here at Mall of America. And then layering on our partnership with Nickelodeon Universe, it's about delivering an experience. And what's really special is when we can bring characters and stories to life that fans see on TV, they see in the movies, they see through gaming, and being able to have that immersive experience right in front of them that they can capture, enjoy, take pictures of, and hold those memories forever. So we have a 7-acre anchor in our property called Nickelodeon Universe, and it's 16 years now that we have brought this fun to our fans. And this was all because of the partnership that we developed with Ron and his team with Nickelodeon, parent company Paramount. And would love for you to kick us off, Ron. Talk a little bit about your role within Paramount, the importance of you bringing IPs, which are intellectual properties, to life for the fans, and that importance of our partnership here at Mall of America.
Sure. Happy to do it. I could talk about this all day, and I usually do. Yeah, so I mean, it really is, and it's a natural extension of our business, right? Our core business, of course, is content distribution, right? But then you have, major pillars that come out from that, like consumer products and experiences. You want to take these things that people know from linear distribution or from online and streaming, of course, and bring it to their lives, right? We use the walk-around characters, right? The characters that's the best metaphor for what we do, right? You can reach out and literally hug this IP, that you've grown to love, through your television, your products, all these experiences. So that really is at the core of it, oversimplifying. There's a ton of analytics we do in the very beginning, right? It really starts with our partnerships, with our licensing partners is, what are the goals, right? What are we trying to do? Kind of the who, what, when, where, why. Who are we entertaining? Where are they going to be? There's so many, the region, age, the demographic split, all those things come into play, and you guys have needs that you need to meet from an attraction standpoint, right? Your market, and we have to listen to that and be sensitive to that, and then find the right IP mix, right? The right IP balance to meet all those different needs, because we want to entertain kids from 2 to 102. That's a mantra we've held for a long time, and that's a real thing. I can't remember what the question was, but I just keep talking.
You're good. You're answering it. I love it. It's just about your role in bringing those characters to life. And,
Sure.
When you got tapped on the shoulder learning about Mall of America, I'm curious of what that reaction was when you learned that there was an opportunity to bring the Nickelodeon brand to fans here at Mall of America, knowing that we don't just have Minnesotans in our building, but we really touch the world and have those fans from 2 to 102 and love the opportunity to entertain them.
So one of the great aspects of this particular project, it's the creative challenge of it, I suppose, right? There's a balance, right? There were existing attractions, existing hardware, and a lot of new things, and we had to figure out. So there are some things you literally, you can only change so much. where do you make those strategic decisions, right? Where do you put which IP to meet which demographic? And that's really where I do start in the process, is understanding, again, what are our partners' needs? What are the guests' needs? What are the expectations in that market? And then what IPs make sense, right? We have a very broad portfolio at Nickelodeon, of course, at Paramount, but for this instance, it's really Nickelodeon. And we have evergreen IP, right? So those are the ones that we know will always be here. And we have ones that are strong today, and we always want to emphasize that, but we have to be responsible because, IP does come and go as things will do in a portfolio. So making strategic decisions along with our partners about which attractions should be themed to which IP, what makes the most sense. Funny rides, funny IP, thrilling rides, thrilling IP. It really is, I say simple, it's really kind of complicated, but I'm trying to keep it simple so that Brian and Chris can keep up.
It's very good. Very good. And that's
Thank you, Ron. Fired.
Great transition, because I was going to ask Brian to go next and share with us your story, because you have a really unique role at the mall overseeing attractions, not just Nickelodeon Universe, but a lot of our attractions. And you had the opportunity to work in Camp Snoopy. That's actually where you started your career here.
I did.
So you've had the transition from Camp Snoopy. We had the park at MOA, which was a very short-term transition period, but then to Nickelodeon Universe. What was that like, and what are the similarities with the different IPs and what your role and responsibilities are, and how has that evolved now working with Nickelodeon?
Yeah, well, maybe just a tad bit different role. Again, I was the fudge counter, the general store at Camp Snoopy in a retail environment, so a little different than now. But the IPs, you couldn't have two, I'd say, different IPs, either making that adjustment, and you guys were extremely involved, having this outdoor Camp Snoopy theme park to very vibrant, colorful. Just the IP itself is completely different. So I remember grand opening and being part of that team, and I spent most of the day changing ticket machines and working on wristbands. So it wasn't so much about the IP that day, but the excitement and having SpongeBob and all the characters, as you say, come to life, Ron, right at the East entrance, doing the ribbon cutting. Those are things I still remember from that grand opening. So,
well, we had our hands full for less than a year when we were tasked with transforming the park. And, some of the key elements of the Camp Snoopy days, having that outdoor park feel was really important for us to maintain. And also, as our friends from Nickelodeon came on board and recognized the uniqueness of our indoor park, there were elements that we kept intact, but then there was a lot of new, and you said color. I think that was the biggest transformation, was seeing the infusion of color into the park. What were some of the key factors that you wanted to make sure we hung on to that were nostalgic and that were really, really important to our guests?
Well, still to this day, like as we're working on a more recent ride development, right? One that's getting ready to open. And I remember Chris fighting for trees, as we often do, right? The trees and the outdoor nature. And like you say, how that sticks out and makes our park different from other indoor theme parks, right? There aren't a lot of indoor theme parks, but ours really brings the outside in, and those trees and that plant life, I would say, were always a crucial part of our theme parks, no matter what the IP. And it is fun to get into those discussions now as we talk about development and, well, we can't get rid of this tree or the pineapple bush or tree. Is it a bush or tree? I don't know. We've got
Plant. Yeah.
Those conversations continue. And again, I think this team has been amazing at finding a balance of that, right? How do you bring an IP to life and yet keep that outdoor feel? So.
Absolutely. And Ron, you've learned so much about us and what's been important in this marketplace. And also just learning how do you infuse those new brands. You talked about evergreen brands. If you can give some examples of those and how you prioritize, how you integrate IPs into a park, because some things can be on hardware, such as the rides, versus some of the softer areas or signage and things. And how do you have that balance so you have some more of the permanent components versus those that are a little bit more transitional that you can change out to try out new IPs to see what might stick with the fans?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, for us, really the top evergreen IP, I mean, of course, SpongeBob, right? He really is our ambassador for life, right? He captures Nickelodeon's essence on his own anyway, so he's our guy. for sure. But we also have really solid long-term properties like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dora the Explorer, newest just past 10 years, if you can believe it, is Paw Patrol. But they kind of join the ranks. And then there are, there's a huge portfolio just underneath that of properties that are strong, but maybe never had like that stellar, just like stellar trajectory where they stayed so popular for so long. And we try to tap those as well. Then there are newer properties or even niche properties, right, that are also a lot of fun, but you have to balance on, is it a risk? Is it, because by definition it's a niche, so it's not necessarily an appeal to everybody, but you can look at other studies where you can create appeal for an IP that might not have been there before just by proper, implementation in LBE or in a location-based experience attraction. So we're really fortunate there. And then, of course, we always look for other opportunities to get the newest and the most fun, because we also want to stay relatable to your guests, to what they see on air, right? You also have a massive return guest base, so you have to keep it fresh. Walk-around characters, entertainment, change out graphics. Those are great, sort of we call soft programming opportunities. And we work with folks like Chris to really, tap those and really, really deliver on that as well as we can, while staying responsible. You don't want to spend, X gajillion dollars on a brand new roller coaster themed around something that, may or may not be a really, really long play for us.
Absolutely. So, Chris, talk to us about how you help us keep it fresh. You have a lot of creative ideas that you push us on to, because a lot of times it doesn't have to be a ride. We love bringing in new rides, but your team does a great job of pushing the envelope to make those connections with the guests and keeping it fresh so that every time they come back, there's something new and they are surprised and delight every time they come.
I think when I first started here, too, it was just because I didn't know any better, right? So just start asking the questions about, can we skin the food and beverage stations to bring an IP into that? Can we draw more opportunity, like you said, these little soft opportunities where if it's something that isn't necessarily tested, we have worked together to find those. The north entrance has become a rotating photo opportunity where we can try those things out and do that. So it's working with the team to talk about what the on-air celebrations are going to be and identifying those opportunities for us where we can make those changes. And then I think we've been really good and mindful, too, about not just looking at slapping an IP on an attraction, but making sure the attraction is right and serves the IP. So on the other end, when we do have these legacy properties, we want that to be something guests from all over the world will, if they come and visit us, as they should, don't feel disappointed that it's not just a brand slap, that we've been intentional about what we're doing.
We know better now. These are things we've learned along the ways, and you can plan for it and budget for it, and that's all part of the process as well, right? To make sure you have a full experience, it does take funding and time, and these are things we've learned over the years.
I mean, think about how long ago that was, in doing those things. We've all grown to see the guest become a bit more savvy in using the same language that we do. So we know that they're educated and they have the tools to share these things more and faster. So we want to make sure that what's being put out there too is good and represents all of our ideas and hard work very well. So, I mean, and that's just like the hardware side, but then it's working with your team on the live entertainment side too, which, as everybody knows, post-pandemic has been very challenging to get back up and running with the level of staffing that we were used to. But I'm really excited that, we've been very intentional to try and push this. And we have great people in entertainment that understand things a bit differently now and are being a bit more mindful about how we present this to guests. So we can do more in a day. We can do a Paw Patrol show and we can do Slimings. We can work together to make more offerings using that same team and just turning them at different points in the day. But I'm excited for the spring break. We just did a test sliming of the first time ever guests can pay to be slimed at Nickelodeon Universe, and it was a really fun little show. It's a quick show, 5 minutes, lots of slime, but these are the types of things we want our guests to be able to do and to be able to work with a partner to do that. And it's been a lot of fun.
I saw the email call out or call to action. Slimers needed or sliming people needed. So
and
that's
Grant
awesome. That's
and
exciting.
his kid answered the call. Yeah.
Well,
Those are exciting afternoons, right? You
yeah.
see that come across your email feed, and that's not an everyday thing for most people.
It doesn't happen at
that's
an ordinary business.
Right, special.
Yeah, and I think all four of us around the table have been slimed. Am I correct?
That is correct.
correct.
Because that is
Yeah.
a privilege, and so we are all
Right.
honored to have been slimed.
Nickelodeon's
over
highest honor, for sure.
That's
right.
It's a little sticky. It was a little sticky, but it's a fun
Doesn't
experience.
taste too bad either. oddly
No,
enough.
it's actually quite tasty.
Food grade. It's all good. Yeah.
Sorry, Ron, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Sorry, we derailed you.
Actually, it's a notable day for me if I don't have slime on almost every one of my emails. That's actually
right.
a notable day for me. I'm not doing something right.
It is good. Well, we talk about location-based entertainment. So a lot of fans know about theme parks because we have it here at Mall of America, but there's a lot of other facets that you look at for location-based entertainment. You have hotel partners, other destinations. You guys have been integrated in cruises before, things like that. What, how do you find those best practices that you can share across your different partners, and have you brought those forward? Because we've had those experiences with other partners. How do you bring those opportunities together so that you can benefit all of your partners, or as you look at new opportunities for location-based entertainment?
What was the question?
So I think it's about how you can learn from your different partners and how there might be shared best practices across your partners, and then also how that might inspire you to look at new opportunities for location-based entertainment.
Well, even like for an example, we were the first, right? We were the first project you had of this size.
Scale for sure.
Now, how many do you have, and where do we fall size? Like just to show the growth and evolution of what location-based entertainment has become. I know you're going on a 2-week trip and visiting several different partners, but just
Sure.
that growth.
So, I mean, Mall of America is for sure, Nickelodeon Universe Mall of America is for sure still one of our top theme park properties. But to your point, as we've branched out into resorts, have become real greenfield development for us, right? That's a great place to entertain guests. We've done several different cruise partnerships and a lot of fun, and we learn from all of these, right? The biggest single component that translates across all of them is always going to be entertainment. But then we look for things that, we find that a smaller ride or attraction or even an entertainment offering at Mall of America is something we can plug in at a resort, right? Or a resort partner. And resorts are a little unique because they are literally 24/7. Our brand is alive for those guests 24/7, and we're constantly looking for what's succeeding there is why, how can we apply that somewhere else?
I know merchandise has. As an example, we do custom merchandise, and we've partnered with some of your other partners, right? And that's helped us with different synergies and buying power and things too. So.
Yep, even marketing activations, that sort of thing, from format to format can be a little different, but the through line, right, can usually be shared. We have corporate initiatives that we want to try to make sure, show up as in an entertaining way. Just to keep your guests entertained and keep them connected to what they're seeing. But so for sure, whether it's themed food and beverage or resorts and hospitality, cruises, live entertainment, touring shows, all of these things have something to offer. Theme parks bring the bulk of it together, right? Maybe without the heads and beds that the resorts, have.
And we have the connected hotels here, which make it great because people can have the entertainment in the theme park. We can have those other ancillary elements in our common area. We've had some of those touring shows before, and then they can stay overnight as long as they want, and we love to entertain them. So it's a great package, and hopefully in the future we can even maybe have a resort here. So
Absolutely.
We love those opportunities. So I would love to hear from you guys about some of your favorite memories. Over the last 16 years, we've been through a lot together. We've added a lot of exciting things to our fans and for all of us to enjoy. Any favorites that you go back to when you're asked about this transformation of Nickelodeon? Because we have so many more years to come, but any fun stories and memories that you guys have that you love to share?
Seems like Ron's got one top of mind here for sure.
I'm
scared.
So,
Hopefully we're not involved with this.
like you said, that the development schedule for the original opening was it was ambitious. Bring it on, right? We were all young back then too, and could do this kind of thing. So I was art director at that point. That was my role when we opened this project, was the art director. And as the only art director, and you guys were running 24 hours a day, 3 shifts to get this project up and open, I was here pretty much 24 hours a day for a lot of that. And one of the restaurants that wasn't open at the time, one of the food and beverage outlets that wasn't open, became my ad hoc office, right? And that's where I set up my laptop. And I mean, it was probably 3 or 4 in the morning, and the fine folks at the Bloomington Police Department, right, doing their jobs, are wondering, because I'm not a contractor, I don't have a hard hat or credentials, I'm just a guy who says he works for Nickelodeon, and they wanted to know what I was doing in this, not abandoned, in this unoccupied restaurant, and I tried to explain it to them, and they wanted real answers, and I get it, and I may have been a little punchy as well, but then Rich Hoagie came to my rescue, my always hero, came, and I always saw him take the officer aside. They had a nice long conversation and came back and told me I could get back to work. But yeah, I think the day that a partner and a friend had to come, keep me out of jail, that was probably one of my more enjoyable memories.
Good one. Yeah.
It was a good one, for sure. It takes a village.
It was a crazy timeline. I mean, we converted that park in less than a year, and I think we all were sleeping orange, eating orange, drinking orange. Like, it was just everything that was our world, because I don't think fans realize the depth of detail that needs to go into that transformation. I mean, they see the visual elements that are in the park, the rides, the decor elements, things like that, but it was food service, it was ticketing, it was all the installation of the new rides. Just there were so many layers, and then it's the training of the staff and entertainment and getting everybody ready to go. But opening our doors in March of 2008 was unbelievable. I don't know if you guys have any fun stories from grand opening, but one thing that will never leave my mind is the joy that we saw in the families that came and the crowds that were in Nickelodeon Universe. And you could just peer over the sea of people just having such an amazing time. And you always, it's like, build it and they will come, and they came in droves. And it was just so rewarding to see all that hard work pay off. And when you talk about walk around characters, when you saw those kids run up to SpongeBob and get that first hug, and just the emotion you can see in their face and the excitement, it was heart payments back to back all day. It was so rewarding for that grand opening. So I don't know if you guys have any other stories to share for grand opening.
Not from grand opening. I wasn't here. So
You didn't come as a fan?
I was here for the VIP opening, so I was a little privileged with all the tiered fruit and all. I was like, this is great. If they do this all the time, it's great. No, it was super fun. But just talking about the opportunities that we've had, to think about these things and the attraction development part as we get to add new things to it. One of my favorite times is going down to Texas with Brian, Jerry, Brad, and Lenny, 3 of our park maintenance guys, 2 of them no longer here with us, but looking at a certain attraction that was being talked about for the park and watching Jerry, Brad, and Lenny tear that thing apart in front of the operators about why it was the worst piece of crap they'd ever seen. And Brian and I looking around like, what else are we going to do here?
We've seen enough.
And then we found another piece of equipment
Yeah.
over there, and that's how we ended up with Shredder's Mutant Masher instead of a different piece of equipment. But
Thanks for that, by the way.
But it was great. But then that just brings me to like today. As we walked the park today, looking at Boots Banana Swing and Bubble Guppies, which feels like maybe a minor piece, that's really the biggest site redevelopment we've had in a long time, where that area was nothing before, that we've added new life and energy to, all to bring Fly with Appa here. And I really loved walking the park this morning with these guys and having these quick little conversations and being able to make some decisions that get into the details. Ron and I were talking some very nerdy little details today that just warmed my heart. And I love being able to have those conversations, because there's a guest that's going to pick up on it, and it's going to be really special for them.
You just love to be able to nerd out.
Oh man, I do.
And those details, they resonate whether they recognize it or not.
Yes.
Those details resonate with guests. They recognize quality, immersion.
Somebody
they
thought
really
about
do.
something.
Yeah, for sure.
It's intentional.
I actually was going to bring up this morning as well, oddly enough, and I think it's maybe a testament just to how far we've come as partners. Not that we didn't have these projects before, but we were talking about the details, and it felt so good to only be talking about the details, right? Because we've been looking at paper, and now we've got this monster ride sitting in front of us, and there wasn't an emergency, there wasn't some major obstacle we had to overcome. We've worked together for so long, and we know what to look for, and Ron has trained us, especially me. Ron even stuck up for me on an operations standpoint today, was talking about how things might get dirty here, the flooring, and maybe we ought to look at that. So that was just an enjoyable walk.
There was literally a moment where you and I were leaning against the railing and we're like, I'm so glad we are at this point having this conversation right now about the side of the sign. Is that going to be okay? It was like, this is great. If we're here, we're all good.
And you talk about the creative strategy around this, right? That's kind of one of my favorite pieces of this puzzle is the creative strategy, right? Avatar: The Last Airbender. We know what a rock solid property that is, right? And it made it onto one of the biggest new e-ticket attractions that we opened 16 almost years ago now. And here we are now, right? That property, I mean, obviously created a huge fan base. Definitely went into just the Comic-Con crowd, right? And it's so strong. We, Paramount and Nickelodeon, opened Avatar Studios, right? We brought Brian and Michael, the original creators, back, gave them their own studio, and they are developing their butts off, doing all kinds of content. Aligning with that, here we are now taking something that was not the best utilized space in the park, and we're doing something new, and it's going to be a home run for you guys, for us. Like, it's that great confluence of all the different things we do
and it's
are coming together in this. Yeah,
it's not a brand
sure.
slap. It's intentional.
Amen.
So, Brian, paint the picture of our new ride that's going to be opening soon, our Fly with Appa.
Fly with Appa, a family ride. That's one thing I'm really excited about. 4 passengers can ride together. We don't have a lot of rides that way, but some self-control in the ride. You have some say about what you do or don't do. So I think that's really exciting. And it's Appa. Yip, yip. I mean, he's such a cool character to create something around. It does so well for us with merchandising, and it's such a fan base. So just
Opening
excited.
soon, right? In
Opening
just
soon.
Couple weeks away.
Couple weeks away, yes.
For spring breakers that are coming to Mall of America this spring break, enjoy the new ride, and we'll be here for to say this is going to be a signature for us. So to wrap things up, since I am around my Nickelodeon nerd friends, I want to do a quick rapid fire so we can wrap this up with a bow. So just quick answers, boys. So we don't need to go into you just got to be quick. Okay.
Clearly,
Brian, favorite walk around character.
Ooh, Patrick.
Ron.
Pass.
Squidward.
Is that like asking your favorite child?
Yeah, that was a tough
Can I not go there? Okay, we'll go to a different one. You get a pass on that one. Best photo op in Nickelodeon Universe, Chris.
Oh, it's going to be with the new Fly with Appa ride, the big paw print.
Okay. Ron, what's your favorite photo op?
Wherever Gary the Snail is today, right? That is so much fun. And again, confluence of all those things. Nickelodeon sense of humor. Yeah, where's Gary the Snail today?
A little Easter egg in the park is to find Gary the Snail. It is great. What's your photo?
Slime bench. Slime bench, yeah. No brainer, right?
We have the new Squidward bench. That's my new favorite photo op.
It's also very
So you
good.
have to find Squidward. You get to sit by him at the bus stop. It's one of my favorites, so love that one. Okay, who has been your favorite Kids' Choice Award host? Ron.
John Cena.
Cena?
John Cena.
Yeah.
Cena.
Yeah, I thought Jack Black. I like Jack Black.
Okay.
That was one of my
fair.
favorites.
Good.
That was one of my
Also get
favorites. Okay. Favorite seasonal activation. We do lots of different things throughout the year. These are some of the things that we share across other properties. What's your favorite seasonal activation?
Booniverse.
Okay, during the Halloween season?
Yeah.
Chris?
Specifically the Yule log shoot.
Okay.
Super fun overlay.
Slime Break, right, which is coming up tomorrow.
It is. And lastly, favorite ride in Nick Universe. Brian?
Was Avatar Airbender, I think, Come Fly with Appa.
It's going to be?
Now number 1,
Love
yeah.
it. Ron?
Avatar Airbender. Yeah.
Okay.
Log shoot.
It's a given with Chris. As we all know,
Log
Chris transforms the log chute on a regular basis. So I also am going to have to go with Avatar Airbender. So that is going to do it for today's episode. So thank you, fans, for sticking with us to learn about all things Nickelodeon. Come check out the new Fly with Appa opening soon. We'd love to see you here and enjoying Nickelodeon Universe at Mall of America. See you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of So Much More. If you want to hear more, be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you find your favorites, including Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts. And you can also watch a video cast on YouTube. Go to podcast.mallofamerica.com to leave a review, ask a question, or give us an idea for the show. Until next time, thanks for listening. So Much More is presented by the Bloomington Convention and Visitors Bureau, the official destination marketing organization for the city of Bloomington, Minnesota. Before your next trip to Mall of America, visit bloomingtonmn.org for answers to all your travel questions, deals and packages for hotel stays, and so much more.